You log into YouTube, you open up X, maybe you're just scrolling through LinkedIn, and bam, there it is.
Oh yeah, it's everywhere.
Literally everywhere. The headline is usually, in all caps, impossible to ignore. It says, Claude will pay you $7,000 a month just to learn artificial intelligence.
It's just, I mean, it is the ultimate 2026 digital gold rush headline.
Oh, totally.
It completely bypasses all your critical thinking and just goes straight to the dopamine centers of the brain.
It really does. I mean, you stop scrolling instantly.
You get.
Because who wouldn't want a massive check just for, upskilling on the most critical technology of our decade?
Right. It sounds like the dream scenario.
Exactly. But today, we are pulling from a really brilliant, highly analytical deep dive by OscarAI, and it takes a very hard look at this explosive rumor.
Which is much needed, honestly.
Yeah. And the source material here, it goes way beyond just debunking or confirming a single headline. It actually gets into the real mechanics of the AI job market.
The underlying economics of it all.
Yes. The architectural evolution of these models and, how the internet's giant game of telephone distorts real economic opportunities into clickbait.
Yeah, because the gap between a viral tech headline and the underlying reality is usually massive.
Huge.
But in this specific case, understanding the anatomy of that gap, that's what can actually give you a competitive edge.
Mm-hmm.
The reality behind the clickbait is actually, it's far more lucrative than the fake headline.
Wait, really? More lucrative?
If you understand the mechanisms at play, absolutely.
Okay, well, that is the core mission for our deep dive today. We are cutting through all that noise to answer the real questions for you. Like, is this $7,000 program a reality?
Right.
Why are tech companies heavily subsidizing these massive educational ecosystems? And most importantly, how can you actually position yourself to capture that kind of value in the current landscape?
Based on the real architecture, not the hype.
Exactly, rather than falling for these false promises.
Yeah.
So to start, we really need to lay the groundwork. Who is Claude and who is Anthropic, the company behind it?
So we have to start by looking at the engine driving this entire conversation, right?
Wow.
Anthropic's current iteration of Claude. Because this rumor, it doesn't exist in a vacuum.
Right, it didn't just pop up out of nowhere.
No, it exists because of a very specific architectural shift in how these models operate right now in 2026. Anthropic itself, just for context, was founded by former OpenAI researchers.
Oh, okay, so they have serious pedigree.
Serious pedigree.
Yeah.
And their original DNA, their whole mission, was prioritizing highly constrained, safe, and steerable systems.
Which kind of sets the stage for what they've built now, the shift from reactive to agentic.
Yes.
The OscarAI piece spends a lot of time on this. I mean, we've moved past that old paradigm where a model just, sits there waiting for a prompt, gives you an output, and then completely forgets you exist.
Right, the chatbot days.
Yeah, exactly. But the current version of Claude is highly agentic, which means it has a capacity for recursive reasoning, autonomous tool selection, multi-step execution.
It's a massive leap.
It is. You give it a high-level objective, and it breaks that down into subtasks. It queries external databases, it writes and executes code to, test its own assumptions.
And it course corrects.
Yes, it course corrects without you having to hold its hand the whole time.
Which fundamentally changes the relationship between the user and the software. I mean, when the model is agentic, it's no longer just software. It functions as a digital worker.
A digital worker. I like that.
Yeah, because the cognitive load shifts. The human doesn't have to micromanage every single syntax error or search query anymore.
Right, you're not just debugging all day.
Exactly. The human acts as a manager of this highly capable autonomous system.
Mm-hmm.
And Anthropic's architecture is just uniquely suited to this kind of reliable execution.
I think about it like this. Tell me if this tracks. It's like the difference between having a supercomputer on your desk that requires you to input perfect code to get a result
Okay, yeah.
versus having a proactive digital intern. Like the supercomputer is just a tool, but with the digital intern, you just say, hey, analyze our Q3 churn rate against these 3 competitors, find the anomalies, and draft a strategy to address them.
And it just does it.
Yeah, it goes into the CRM, pulls the data, runs the regressions, finds the outliers, formats a beautiful report, and just drops it in your inbox.
That level of autonomous execution is exactly what is driving the massive valuation of the tech right now, and consequently, the hysteria around the jobs.
Okay, I hear that, but I have to play the skeptic here for a minute.
Go for it.
We're talking about highly advanced digital workers executing complex tasks, right?
Yeah.
If the AI is doing all the heavy lifting, why is there a headline screaming that Anthropic is going to pay human learners $7,000 a month to learn about it?
Ah, right, the $7,000 question.
Yeah, I mean, let's not keep the listener in suspense here. If I go to Anthropic's website right now, today, is there a form I can fill out to get this check?
No, I have to drop the hammer on this one early. Yeah.
Nothing.
Nothing. Based on a comprehensive review of all their public initiatives, their official announcements, developer documentation, there is zero evidence of Anthropic offering a $7,000 monthly stipend to anyone simply for learning AI.
Wow.
The program is a complete fabrication.
Man, the bubble bursts.
I know, I know.
But, the OscarAI source gets to something far more fascinating than just calling it a lie, right?
Yeah.
They deconstruct how the lie was built.
Which is the most interesting part.
Yeah, because if the headline is a total fabrication, why is it dominating the entire internet? Why are seasoned tech influencers, people on your LinkedIn feed, sharing it as if it's actual gospel?
Because the most successful viral rumors are never pure fiction. They just aren't.
Right, there's always a kernel of truth.
Exactly. They are these Frankenstein monsters built from very real, highly credible data points. Basically, the internet took three distinct factual economic trends happening in the AI space, threw them in a blender, and just poured out this highly clickable, totally exaggerated headline.
It's an aggressive game of telephone?
That is exactly what it is.
I really love how the source breaks down the ingredients in that blender because the actual data points are staggering. Like the first ingredient is just the compensation for a specialized AI role.
Oh, the salaries are astronomical.
Yeah. We aren't talking about generic software engineers anymore. The roles commanding absolute premiums right now are highly specific to this agentic shift we were just talking about.
Let's look at those roles, actually, because they illustrate where the real value lies in 2026. You have machine learning engineers and AI architects.
Which have always been lucrative, right?
Right, always high paying.
Yeah.
But now you see massive demand for AI alignment researchers and MCP experts. And these aren't people who just know how to prompt.
I want to focus on that AI alignment researcher role for a second, because the perception of that job has completely flipped in the last couple of years.
Oh, entirely.
Like 2 years ago, alignment felt like a philosophical debate. You're debating the ethics of what a model should or shouldn't say in a chat window.
Right, keeping it polite.
Yeah, exactly. But today, alignment is a hard mathematical discipline.
Because of the agentic nature.
Yes. You are building constraint mechanisms into autonomous agents so they don't, accidentally wipe a client's production database when they're trying to optimize a server.
Exactly. The alignment researcher is the person putting the mathematical guardrails on the autonomous digital worker.
And the market is pricing that capability at a massive premium. I mean, if your company is deploying an agentic system that interacts with live customer financial data,
you need certainty.
You absolutely need certainty. The person who mathematically guarantees that agent behaves reliably is worth their weight in gold.
Totally. And then you have the MCP experts. We're going to dive deep into the model context protocol in a minute, but essentially, these are the architects stitching the AI into the actual fabric of a business.
So that's ingredient one, right? Massive real-world salaries for specialists.
Right. And ingredient two is the flood of educational subsidies. Tech giants are pouring billions, literally billions, into grants, scholarships, and free educational platforms.
They are aggressively subsidizing the cost of learning.
Exactly. And the third ingredient is the freelance explosion.
Oh, yeah. The source notes a massive surge in independent professionals like consultants, developers, analysts who have integrated agentic AI into their workflows.
And suddenly they're pulling in $7,000, $10,000, or $15,000 a month.
Just because their output has completely multiplied.
Right. So when you look at those three real-world facts, high specialist salaries, tech companies funding education, and freelancers making $7,000 a month, using the tools, you can see exactly how it happened.
The human brain just loves a simple, lucrative narrative.
Yep, it just squished them all together into Anthropic pays you $7,000 to learn.
It's the ultimate synthesis of wishful thinking and misunderstood economics.
Perfectly said.
Anthropic isn't running a welfare program for curious internet users. But the source material makes a really critical pivot here that I think we need to explore.
Okay.
Even though they aren't, writing you a personal check, Anthropic and other major players are still spending millions of dollars to educate you.
Yes, they absolutely are.
They're offering official, deeply comprehensive courses completely for free, aimed at developers, students, and educators. So what is the play there?
This is their actual investment strategy. They are building an ecosystem.
An ecosystem.
Think about it. If you produce a highly capable agentic model, that model is fundamentally useless if there is no one in the market skilled enough to integrate it into enterprise infrastructure.
Oh, so they need the workforce.
Exactly. They aren't paying you to study. They are providing the textbooks, the virtual classrooms, the advanced curriculum, all for free, because they are desperate to build an army of talent capable of building on their platform.
And the curriculum isn't just basic, like how to write a good prompt. The OscarAI piece highlights that these courses dive heavily into the Model Context Protocol, or MCP.
Right, MCP.
And this is where I think a lot of people, including me at first, get tripped up. My initial understanding of MCP was just, oh, it's an API, a way for the AI to talk to a database.
Yeah, that's a very common misconception.
But the source material paints it as something much, much more foundational than that.
Because calling MCP just an API is like calling the internet just a series of tubes.
Okay, fair enough.
It completely minimizes the architectural breakthrough. Before the Model Context Protocol, integrating an AI model into your business tools required custom, incredibly brittle integrations.
Brittle how?
Well, you had to write specific code for the AI to talk to Jira, then different code for it to talk to Slack, and completely different code for it to talk to your proprietary SQL database.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and if an API endpoint changed on any of those, the whole integration broke.
So it's entirely siloed. The AI was smart, but it was basically stuck in a box. And you had to build a custom, super fragile bridge every single time you wanted it to touch something outside that box.
Precisely. What MCP does is standardize the connection. It acts as a universal translator and a secure adapter.
A universal translator.
Yeah. When a developer builds an MCP server for their company's internal data, they're essentially exposing that data to Claude in a standardized format that the model natively understands.
So it doesn't need a custom bridge anymore.
No. Claude can dynamically read the schema, understand the capabilities of the tools available to it, and just securely execute actions across multiple platforms without the developer having to hard code every single interaction.
Oh, I get it now. It's like the introduction of the USB-C standard, but for artificial cognition.
Oh, I love that analogy. Yeah.
Right? Because before USB-C, you needed a different cable for your camera, your phone, your microphone, your laptop. It was a massive mess of custom connectors.
A total headache.
But MCP is the universal standard that allows this agentic brain to seamlessly plug into literally any data source or software tool and immediately start driving it.
That standardization is the exact catalyst for the productivity explosion we are seeing right now. By teaching developers how to use MCP for free, Anthropic is ensuring that their model becomes the central nervous system of modern business operations.
So they give away the education so that developers will wire Claude into everything.
Exactly.
That ecosystem approach totally reframes the urgency for me. It explains why they are throwing resources at training. But it also brings us to the core economic driver for you, the listener.
Right, the why should I care part.
Yeah. Why is the market willing to pay such massive premiums for the people who can operate this nervous system? We mentioned freelancers pulling in major revenue, and the OscarAI source roots this in a radical shift in human productivity.
The agentic shift, when you combine it with standards like MCP, fundamentally alters the output of a single human being.
Right.
We are moving from a paradigm of incremental efficiency, just doing the same task a little bit faster, to a paradigm of total workflow modification.
Workflow modification.
The AI isn't just speeding up the process anymore. It is collapsing entire collaborative workflows into a single operator task.
Let's map that out visually for a second. It's the difference between using a handsaw and operating a fully automated lumber mill.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah. Right. For thousands of years, if you wanted to cut down a forest, your output was strictly limited by your physical strength and the hours in a day.
You'd need a massive crew of lumberjacks to scale that operation.
Exactly. The handsaw is traditional human labor.
And in this analogy, early AI tools like basic spell checkers or simple autocomplete were just sharper handsaws.
Right.
They helped, sure, but you were still the one making every single cut manual.
Exactly. But now, with agentic AI connected via MCP to all your tools, you have basically stepped into the control booth of an automated lumber mill.
You're not swinging the saw anymore.
No. You are looking at a dashboard, setting the parameters, and pushing a button that processes hundreds of trees a minute. The mechanical leverage is just astronomical.
The output of one person operating the mill completely dwarfs the output of 50 people with handsaws.
Let's ground that lumber mill analogy in a concrete 2026 professional scenario, just to show how this leverage actually generates income.
Okay, let's take a freelance financial data analyst.
Great.
2 years ago, a client asked them to audit a year's worth of messy, unstructured transaction data across 3 different international subsidiaries. Right, and they have to identify inefficiencies and build a predictive forecast.
That is a nightmare project. That's
Yeah.
easily 2 weeks of manual labor. You're downloading CSVs, cleaning the data, normalizing all the different currencies, building the pivot tables, running the regressions, and then finally writing the executive summary.
2 weeks, minimum. But today, that same analyst is using an agentic model connected via MCP to the client's actual databases and their own local analytical tools.
Right.
So the analyst just defines the objective. Audit these 3 databases, normalize for currency fluctuations using today's index, flag any vendor payments that deviate by 15% from the historical mean, and generate a localized forecast model.
And because it's agentic, the analyst doesn't have to write the Python scripts to actually do all that.
Exactly. The AI queries the database, writes the script to clean the data, executes it, notices an error in how subsidiary B logs their date.
Oh, wow, it catches the errors.
Yep. It writes a patch to fix the date formatting, reruns the script, generates the visualizations, and drafts the report.
So what used to take 2 weeks now takes, what, 3 minutes of compute time?
3 minutes of compute time and maybe 2 hours of the human analyst reviewing the output for strategic alignment.
The output is just massively multiplied, and the client doesn't care that it only took 2 hours. They care that they received a comprehensive, accurate audit that saves them money.
Exactly. They're paying for the value of the output, not the hours punched on a clock.
That is how independent professionals are scaling their income to $7,000, $10,000 or more a month. They are operating the automated lumber mill.
They've mastered the leverage.
The leverage is intoxicating. But, this brings up a tension in the source material that I think is incredibly important for our audience to hear.
Oh, definitely.
If the automated lumber mill is this powerful, the instinct is to just drop everything and become obsessed with the buttons in the control booth.
Right. People think they need to spend their weekends memorizing every single Claude parameter.
Yeah, every prompt engineering trick, every nuance of the current interface.
Well, the OscarAI Deep Dive provides a really harsh reality check against that exact mindset. Obsessing over the specific syntax of today's tools is a trap.
A trap.
A total trap. The tools are ephemeral. The interface of Claude or Gemini today will look completely different in 8 months.
That's true. It changes so fast.
If your entire professional value is based on knowing which button to click on version 4.5, your skill set literally goes to 0 the moment version 5.0 automates that button away.
Ouch. So if rote memorization of the tool is a trap, what is the ultimate differentiator? I mean, if the software is constantly evolving and becoming more capable of operating itself, what does the human bring to the table that retains value?
The source outlines a major shift from technical execution to core cognitive competencies.
Okay.
We are talking about critical thinking, strategic decision-making, high-level creativity, and complex communication.
I'm going to push back on that a little bit because critical thinking and decision-making, they sound like generic buzzwords you'd find on a resume from 2015.
I know they do, but...
Like, how do those competencies actually function differently in an agentic AI environment?
Well, think about how decision-making changes when execution is instant.
Okay.
Historically, in business, 90% of your time was spent gathering data, writing the plan, building the slide deck. Only 10% of the time was spent actually deciding if it was a good idea.
Right. The execution took forever.
But today, the agentic AI does the 90% of the gathering and building in 10 seconds. It can hand you 3 completely distinct, fully fleshed out, mathematically sound business strategies.
Wow. Okay, I see. So your job is no longer creating the plan. Your job is evaluating the risk, looking at the ethical implications, and ensuring the strategic alignment of the 3 perfect plans sitting on your desk.
Exactly. You've moved from being the doer to being the director.
The direct.
You have to possess the critical thinking to look at a flawlessly formatted AI report and ask, wait, does this actually align with our brand identity? Is this assuming a market condition that I know intuitively is shifting?
So you're basically curating the output.
Yes. An agentic AI can execute a complex logistics plan to optimize the supply chain, sure, but it requires human leadership to communicate those massive structural changes to a team of 500 anxious employees and actually guide them through the transition.
Right.
The AI provides the leverage, the human provides the judgment, and the leadership. Tools evolve, But those competencies, they remain the bottleneck for success.
That is a phenomenal distinction, and it brings us back to the reality of the money.
Yes, the $7,000 question again.
Right. You can absolutely generate $7,000 a month or far more using AI, but the market isn't paying you for passing a multiple choice test on AI trivia.
Not at all.
It's paying you because you apply human judgment to AI-generated leverage in fields like business consulting, process automation, software development, digital marketing. You get paid for the massive value you deploy.
It is entirely based on value creation.
Yeah.
And understanding that, it shifts you from just being a passive consumer of hype to an active participant in the economy.
Which is an incredibly empowering realization. But navigating this space really requires discipline.
Oh, absolutely.
We were living through a technological Cambrian explosion. Every single week, there is a new model, a new framework, a new shocking headline claiming the world is ending or that you can get rich in your sleep. It is so easy to get swept up in all the noise.
Which is exactly why the source material highlights verification as a critical professional competency. The people who excel in this new landscape are the ones who treat their credibility as their most valuable currency.
I cannot emphasize this enough. Listeners, if you are on LinkedIn or X and you blindly hit share on a clickbait headline about a fake $7,000 payout from Anthropic without taking 3 minutes to verify the underlying source, you are actively damaging your brand.
You're signaling to your network that you can't filter information.
Exactly. You are signaling to potential employers, clients, collaborators that you lack the critical thinking to navigate complex information. In a world where AI can generate infinite noise, your ability to filter for signal is what makes you valuable. Credibility is currency. Don't spend it on cheap engagement.
It requires a fundamental shift in behavior.
Yeah.
And to actually catalyze that shift, the OscarAI Deep Dive leaves us with a very specific, actionable framework.
Yes, a 30-day challenge designed to move you from theory to practice.
Exactly.
I love this challenge, but I'll admit 30 days seems incredibly fast to master a completely new workflow. Walk us through how they structure it so it's actually achievable.
Well, the brilliance of the challenge is in its constraints. Over the next 30 days, the first step is to pick one and only one new AI tool or framework.
Just one.
Ignore the FOMO. Ignore the 10 other tools launching this week. Focus entirely on one.
Block out the noise. Okay, what's step 2?
Step 2 is where the rubber meets the road. Identify one repetitive high-friction task in your current job. Find that painful reporting process you do every Friday that eats up 4 hours, and use your chosen tool to automate it. Figure out how to make the AI do it in 3 minutes.
Oh, I love that. Solving a real pain point.
Right. And step 3 is to build a practical project around that automation. Make it tangible. Don't just play in a sandbox. Solve a real problem for yourself or your company.
Okay, got it.
And step 4 is crucial. Document your process. Write down what failed, what prompted the breakthrough, and how you had to structure the data for the AI to understand it.
And the final step is to share those documented results publicly. Show your work. Demonstrate your critical thinking and your ability to actually leverage the technology.
Because that is how you track the market.
Yes, you make the market want to pay you for the output you can generate. Because the overarching thesis here is that the best investment you can make in the artificial intelligence boom isn't waiting for a corporate handout or a fake $7,000 check.
Definitely not.
The best investment is building your own capacity for leverage. No one can ever take that away from you.
You're building the cognitive muscle required to operate the automated lumber mill rather than just reading books about the saws.
So well said. So, as we wrap up this deep dive into the realities of the AI market, I want to leave you with a final thought to chew on.
Lay it on us.
We spent a lot of time discussing the defining feature of these 2026 models, the fact that they are highly agentic.
Right.
They can recursively reason, they can autonomously select external tools via protocols like MCP, and they execute complex tasks while course-correcting their own errors.
Proactive digital workers.
Exactly. So if that baseline is true, how long will it be until these autonomous digital workers can take Anthropic's official free educational courses entirely on their own?
Wow.
How long until they can read the newly released documentation for an updated protocol, integrate that new knowledge into their own context window, and update their own operational skills without a human ever prompting them to do so?
That's a wild thought.
And when we reach that inevitable point where the tools are autonomously training the tools, what kind of human problem solver will you need to be to ensure you stay in the control booth?
That is the defining question for the next era of human work.
Something to think about the next time you see a headline promising easy money. Keep verifying, keep building, and we'll catch you on the next deep dive.